Previously on Spiritual Warfare. Well, hello once again, and welcome back to Nathan Plays Spiritual Warfare. My name is Nathan, and this is Spiritual Warfare for the Nintendo Entertainment System. In the last episode, we tackled the airport as well as the warehouse area, got those cans off the docks. We also had a little bit of a boss battle of tedium and excitement. One of those things, I don't know. And we were rewarded with the boots, which opens up a few new areas that we can go to, because previously we were not able to cross burning rubble or that wave stuff that I guess is maybe supposed to be lava or sewage. I'm not 100% sure. So with that in mind, we're going to head straight back to the warehouse area. But first, as I mentioned in the last video, there is a little bit something I needed to take care of. It was a bit that I didn't realize that I had missed on my way through. There's that extra room in the top right of the that sort of crazy side-scrolling this spot with all the warps. Just needed to get up there and find out what exactly I had missed. So a little more bullet dodging, and there wasn't too difficult to get to. And it turns out it's another apple to add to your collection of fruit. Travels slowly, but is powerful, as you know. Only 40 points, not so bad. And that brings my total up to 3. Still not crazy about the apples overall, so we're going to stick with the pomegranates for now. And now we come to our first burning rubble field, and like it's not even a thing, we're just going to walk right over it. It don't even matter. First new area is the hotels district. We are going to cover a lot of ground in today's video, but I will warn you now, spoiler alert, it just sort of peters out at the end. So just be ready for that. Anyway, hotels has a different style of car sprite than we're used to seeing. Quite a lot of them. And it's a fairly small district in the middle of the lower left corner there. You have some bikers that are sort of motoring around, I guess patrolling the limos and things that you see here. As well as this elderly fella. But if we hope for what we do not yet have, we wait for it patiently. That was cryptic. Thank you. I know that's a Bible quote or whatever, but just in this context, I'm not sure what he means. Fighting through all those parked cars got me to this seemingly useless building. I bombed around a little bit, tried to find out what was up with it, and couldn't. So it was all sort of a waste of time coming down here. Thanks. Thanks, Spiritual Warfare. Back up to the entrance, and then northward. Whoa, we've got the face monument here, which is actually kind of awesome. I don't know if this is supposed to be scaring us away from downtown in the big city, the hotels area, but I am enjoying the neon and bright colors of the hotel district, aesthetically speaking. On top of this very tall building, we see an empty heart container that I am going to need. I want that, so let's make our way to the entrance, and it's a bit of a walk. There we are. Seems enticing enough. Legend of Zelda didn't have bright neon panels. Take that. Inside, we have another sort of a... It's one of this game's many bizarre and nightmarish scenarios. Strange men in lottery terminal... Like, what are those things called? The one-armed bandits. You know, the... those things. I'll think of it later. Anyway, shooting alternately balloons and bullets across your way there. Fortunately, they can be taken out with the pomegranates from up close and the apples for more sniper shots. What are those things called? It's like a... I know, you're shouting it at your screen right now, probably, and it's there. Anomia. It's on the tip of my tongue. Anyway, I made it to the top of the building. Grabbed the heart container there. Slot machines! They're slot machines, you guys. I got there. Top of the building, grabbed a heart container, and moved along my merry way. In this sort of funkily adorned building, we have more of the Mighty Grapes. Actually, not more. The first of the Mighty Grapes, I think. 75 points, but we have quite a few, so we're not worried. Let's equip these grapes and see what's up. They represent joy. and they scatter when you throw it, according to the angel. So that's just one on the screen at a time, so I can mash on the button. It's not terribly. It's you can see that it might be better when you have more of them, just because I mean, if you miss, that's a pretty wide arc that they go, and you're not really able to throw another one for quite a bit. So back to pomegranates as always. And with that, actually one more screen. So, one more thing to check out here, and it is temptation. You'd be very wise not to enter this building, says the guy that I decided to do an impression of Deckard Cain for. It's a casino, and the effect will be the same as what I showed you a few videos ago with the bar downtown. You'll lose a piece of armor, and you have to go way out of your way to get it, and it's an enormous pain. So this time, I'm just not even going to bother. And that pretty much covers hotels. It's a very small area. We got what we came to get, and we're moving on to Shipyard. Shipyard Belize, everybody. We made it. We have we got new enemies in the sailors, as well as these roving dogs that just sort of have a pattern, very Metal Gear-esque. We have to try and sneak through this brick area. Not really the best guard dogs ever. I mean, they're effective if you get in the way, but clearly I can just avoid them. The timing was too challenging to get right on this one, so I just sort of tanked my way through it. Not so bad. And here we have a little bit of a puzzle involving some dogs and some blocks that we can move here. I wouldn't even call those crates. They're just blocks, just nondescript boxes of some description. Maybe they're coolers. They look kind of like coolers. So after one or two resets to try and formulate a plan and get my head straight, I decided to do the best thing that I have gotten to do in this whole game. It's beautiful, isn't it? Anyway, moving along. We have another new enemy, which is Cool Shade's Machine Gun Man. And these guys are back underwater here, firing sometimes balloons and sometimes bullets. And we have a little bit of a maze on our hands. But it's pretty doable as these things go. Although somehow I managed to get turned around here and mistakenly think that there's a dead end, because I didn't see that ladder that's just directly below me there. So I spent a little bit of time trying to figure out if there's a secret door, and then, oh yeah, look at that. It's right there. Try that too. I don't know why. Not very observant always, I guess. But eventually I found my way, as I often do. I decided not to bother with that guy way down in the corner because I couldn't see the profit in it. And moved back out to Shipyard. We have a railroad station here. Just checking in, make sure that I can't use it. It's very sad. And because there's all these little kind of paths around into the sides, you gotta make sure you check your corners and stuff. Look for secrets. It's important. That patrol dog bit me, but it's fine. Here we have an entrance. And it's another nightmare ladder scenario. The old men from beneath the park are back. Just climbing and climbing forever. Like a rebel, I said no to that one dove, and it takes me back to the sewers beneath the downtown area, so that's a bit of a shortcut there if you decide to use it. Although, as far as I can tell, it only works one way. Like, from downtown to here, which was interesting. Next open door we found is a bit of a puzzle, if you can call it that. Just some fun messing around with dynamite here in this building. And all for a good cause. You can see the key that I have down the way there. Took a moment to survey the situation and make sure that I was blowing up the right one, which I was. And grab myself a key. And a hidden surprise. Nice. Moving on, now armed with key. Finally took care of that machine gunner. He was trouble. And in no time at all, we come to a locked door for that key. Well, this is a conundrum, but it turns out that a little bit of the vials of God's Wrath will start to open up a path, and it turns out we have a bit of a maze on our hands. Not too terribly complicated. And in no time at all, you figure out how to work your way around. Waste a lot of vials to do this, but it is kind of fun. And hey presto, it's another heart container. Now on the way out, you get to see how odd it looks. A little bit of how odd it looks to climb on nothing at all. There we can see the exit from Shipyard to whatever the fish is supposed to symbolize. But we're not going to go that way just yet. We've got a little bit more to see and do here. Sort of make a giant circuit all the way around the outside of the area. Just a lot of unemployed sailors and Cool Shades machine gun guys just hanging out down here, but we do have another building finally to poke around in. This one's long to the left and to the right, and so we went right first. See what we can see. Sort of a wide, we pretty much pulled out every tile set in the game for this building adventure inside. And unfortunately, it ends in another locked door. We only had one key, and we haven't come across any others yet, so that remains a mystery for now. On the far left side of the building, we have another balloon puzzle, if you want to call it that. Ending in a few dove points, but I figured, easy dove points. Why not? Push the thing into there, and the other thing. And there we are. So that's all for that building for now. We're going to make a mental note of that and just try and remember to come back here later on if we ever do find another key. And that also pretty much rounded out the shipyard area. The middle screens are mostly just walkways, and there's really not anything going on there at all. So with that, I could work my way back across the other side and go to beach. Here we have some hunks. Troublesome hunks. They reflect all of our attacks, unfortunately. But they are still susceptible to the vials, much like forklifts. I'm not sure if there's some sort of a metaphor there, some kind of a statement that the game's creators are trying to make, whatever. But in any case, they are trouble, and they are going to whittle down my health pretty rapidly. There's also a skateboarder-type enemy there, just kind of placidly rolling around. Definitely not as much trouble to deal with as the hunks. So I proceeded to 311 Beachfront Avenue. Let's check it out. Inside, beach house. It's kind of an odd layout, but there's a lot of vials in here. Kind of a stash of them, if you will. So of course we're going to scoop that up. Because if just the first few screens are any indication, this area is going to require a lot of vials to get through. Going down the stairs gets you another grapes. 75 dove points for our second set of grapes. Now you can see that when thrown, when I remember to equip them, which I don't always do, it's okay to be a little more at range now. They do, you have enough of them on screen at one time that if there's always one in sort of the center, is what I'm saying. Poke around the nooks and crannies of this beach house a little bit more before heading back outside. That's a nice bit of area rug there. It's tasteful. It really ties the whole thing together. And outside there's just hunks. Hunks everywhere. They care not for grapes, which is interesting because you would think as being very health or fitness conscious people, everybody's gone surfing, by the way, says that surfer guy, so he's a little biased, I think. Anyways, health conscious people, you might think they would want some fruit. Yes, quack. You can interact with the ducks that are apparently pretty pointless, and all they say is quack. Puzzle to this room is much easier if you have a torch. Well, I do have a torch, but again, I'm out of keys. That's 2 that we need now. We have a little bit of a backlog going, as a matter of fact. And I'm not 100% sure where I'm going to find these things. Also, as I said, just being here is sort of slowly whittling down my my available health here. It's a difficult area. Not a lot of room to maneuver, and those hunks are pretty fast. Not to mention, I've never figured out how... if the little extra devils come out of people, they get me almost every time because I'm just not ready for them after setting off the explosion. For some reason, my reflexes just don't support thinking of those things at the same time. Hopefully with practice, we'll get there. This screen appeared to be nothing but hunks, and so I decided to just not bother. Prayed a little bit to get 1 heart back, but I don't want to sacrifice all of my dove points for that. To try and refill all the way. That's a lot of points now. And again, mostly just hunks. Two hits, and I'm pretty low on health. And that's that. Continuing puts me back at the entrance to beach from the forest, which is where I wanted to go anyway. So let's explore the forest. Now, if you'll recall, there was an entrance on the north side of the forest in the houses area. And there I was warned that I would want the helmet as well as the boots, which I don't have, and maybe that mitigates some of the damage I'm taking, but again, I'm in bad trouble for most of the time that I'm in the forest. So already I'm thinking that beach and forest are places that you're going to want to come back to maybe after exploring something else. I remember that, and of course another locked door, which brings us up to 3 now that we haven't been able to do anything about. Little distressing. Trying to keep that all in my brain. As I was saying, I remembered that Slums also had an exit that was covered with burning rubble, so most likely in the next episode we're going to head up there. But for now we're going to keep exploring woods for a little while longer. These neat archers are kind of a fun enemy, although they don't seem to be able to shoot up and down, only side to side, and then they do a little spin move, and then they shoot again. Angel's taunting me, yo. But we got there. So after answering those questions that I have done more than once now, we kept on moving. Is this normal for cities to have like a... I mean, cities have woodsy areas, but to have just archers in purple just hanging around in them, and I guess about as normal as having ninjas skulking around your backyard in the next area over. Here are some fairly freaky looking bears running around upright. They are unable... You can't stop them. You can only try and time it and get through them. It's a terrifying place, the woods. They seem to go 1, 2, 3, and then hold still for a moment, is their pattern. Unlike the lumberjacks, which tend to just kind of run back and forth seemingly at random speeds. Got tagged by that archer there. But in the end, I was able to successfully navigate the woods area. Bees! Only to get shot by another arrow and attempt one more continue. For the sake of diversity, we're going to go up the middle this time just to try something different. Wasn't quite willing to give up on the game just yet with this in this session of play, but pretty close at this point. I'm also really thinking by now that I'm gonna head up north to Slums and go see what that area is all about. Maybe the helmet's there. I'm not sure. But at this point, while I was playing, I was also thinking I should try and get through the woods to perhaps the church in Houses for a hint. Unfortunately, I'm just perpetually low on health. I can cross these. These are the wavy. I guess this is lava, or I'm not sure what areas. You can see the sign to Houses there, and here we are in a familiar area, but there's no way to detonate this dynamite without really hurting myself. I'm in a bad situation here, friends. And so I did it. And decided that that was going to be about as far as I was willing to go. Fortunately, we now start in Houses for the next video. But at this point, I had just more or less lost my will to keep playing. I was having kind of a rough go of it. And so it was off to the password menu to get that and to end the game. So like I said, next time we're going to head through Slums to see what we can find on the north side of the map there. Hopefully some keys. Thank you ever so much for watching, and we'll see you next mission.